All right, guys, we're about half hour through the show. We're going to go on to our second review. It's Shadowrun, both for the PC and for the 360 version. Now, I think Rome actually wanted me to do sort of a dual review or two separate reviews, but I got to be honest with you, I think my mind has been made up. So by the end of the review, you're going to know which version I'm going to tell you to buy. I'm not going to quite give it away yet, but you may have watched the show on Tuesday where we actually did a live cross-platform test between the 360 and the Windows version, or the Vista version that you could see up on the screen right there. The game is quite simple. If you didn't get a chance to see it, let me just summarize what Shadowrun is. It's a first-person shooter that plays a lot like the classic Counter-Strike. Now, the objectives aren't necessarily the same. In most cases, you have two objectives: eliminate the entire team, or grab a special artifact and bring it back to a designated
There's only two
area.
map types.
Right. The team that gets to 6 rounds first, which is fairly short, but it does take a while, is obviously the winner. It works on a money system, so when your team does well or when you kill other players, you're awarded money, which will then then allow you to buy weapons, magical upgrades, tech upgrades, etc., etc. Now, the one nice thing that I did like about that, I'm going to say right off the bat, is that you get to keep these abilities throughout the game. So once you buy Resurrection, you don't have to buy it every round, which is something that Counter-Strike players might find a little bit different. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go into our Shadowrun review. Now, Rome, I've got a few videos that I put over on your drive that you could show in case anyone hasn't quite seen what this game is all about or what it has to offer. Let's get started here. This is the opening cinema of the game, and while it's going on, let's talk a little bit about the graphics, because I've actually got two graphic scores. I not only gave a graphic score for the PC version, but also for the Xbox 360 version, because to be totally honest with you guys, that is the only difference between the two games. Now, you could say, well, there's another difference, and that's in the controls. However, you'll note, as we'll talk about in gameplay later on, that they've actually made some changes to the console version that will give them, I guess, a little bit of extra fairness, if you will. And I know a lot of people are on the fence whether or not that's fair or not. But now, this is all CG rendered graphics, okay? Yeah. You guys are just kind of getting an idea of some of the technology that you're playing with, what you might see, and the music's actually really good for this game. So, talking a little bit about graphics, if you watched our show on Tuesday, you might have seen me suffer through immensely bad frame rates on the PC version. Now, I do not make minimum spec requirements, and that must be said before I give this a score. On the back of the box, it specifically says enhanced for multi-core. It doesn't necessarily say, it does say system requirement dual-core CPU. All right? I do not have this on my XPS laptop. Now, I do have 2 gigs of RAM. I do have an NVIDIA 7800, and I do run Windows Vista. So, in all fairness, I do need to make the disclosure that I do not meet the system specs. However, with that being said, I still think that the PC should have run this game much, much better than it actually did on my system. And here's the type of experience that I have, is that I start to play on my system, I can play through 1 or 2 games, and then suddenly I just experience more frame drops, and more frame drops, and more frame drops. And it's actually like a memory leak is happening within the game. Now, I did the research. I went to the forums.shadowrun.com. I checked out. I couldn't find anyone who had specifically my problem. However, I did post, and I did get someone come back and say, please try these things and see if they work. Now, they were very generic type Windows Vista enhancements, and I don't really think that it is going to make a huge difference. But the reason why I want to give a PC score and a 360 score is because when I played it for a weekend on the PC and then saw it on the 360, I was fucking blown away, okay? I was like, like, yeah, this game looks pretty good. Oh, it's a lot of fun. This is cool. Then you see it on the 360 version running at 30 to 60 solid FPS. It has better graphical enhancements. Like, it's got some effects that the PC version doesn't have.
When I saw it on your PC,
and I'm just like, what the fuck?
When I saw it on your PC after playing the beta months earlier, I actually thought it looked really good. But then once we hooked up the 360 version,
it was night and day. It was night and day. So let's bring up our graphics scores right here. Suma, you tell me what you had to say about graphics, but here's our scores. Bring up full screen. I gave graphics an 8. However, that's specifically for the 360 version. That 4 next to it, no, this isn't a complicated, algebra formula. That 4 represent the graphical score on the PC, you guys.
Why is it so low?
It is low because, Rance, for the reasons that we were talking about during lunch, okay, I can run Company of Heroes in the highest, in ultra-high settings with a solid, like 100
but you don't know what's
frames.
causing your frame rate loss, dude. It could be network. It could be Vista drivers. It could be anything, man. And you're blaming it on the graphics. I don't know if I buy that.
No. I'm not blaming it on the graphics. I'm simply telling you that based off my experience, and that's why I was very upfront.
You were playing it on a system
about
below.
I fucking said that if you would have been listening to the fucking intro of the review.
I was listening. I'm just making it clear to all the nubs out there when they see this 4, it's based on some pretty fucked up information, but let's continue, yes.
Well, you know what? When you decide you want to review a game, let me know, but this is my fucking review, and I give graphics a 4 because it did not go up to speed. Now, did I want to load it on a better rig? Yeah, I did, but I didn't have a better rig with Vista, so I'm going to give this game, that is why I gave it a 360 score, okay? Because I did not want the overall to be affected by what my shitty PC did.
Dude,
although,
we should come back to it later.
I
That's
still
all I
don't
gotta say.
think...
We should come back to it.
I don't need to.
I
and
think
I'll
we
tell
should
you
put it
why
on a
at the
real
end of the
rig.
review, okay? I'll tell you why at the end of the review, okay? And besides, I don't care, Rome, because you made the point that this game should run better on the PC than it does. Did you not?
It should run better on a PC than it does what I saw from yours, but you don't know what's, I still maintain that you don't know what's causing the frame rate loss. It could be a network thing, man. It could be something just incredibly stupid.
I'll tell you.
Well, I think even
I'll tell you this.
offline.
Hold on. I did play bot games, 4 versus 4, and I did, after several games, experience this frame rate loss.
So it's a memory leak somewhere?
I believe that's a memory leak.
Yeah.
That's what I went to the forums with, and so that was my thoughts. Now, I can't back this up. I did try to go to the Shadowrun forums. I did try to put it out there. I tried to find an explanation prior to the review. I couldn't find it, but that's also why I got the 8 there, okay? Because the 360 graphics do this game justice.
And do realize, though, that, while I may not agree with a 4, I do agree that the graphics are worse on the PC version than on the 360.
Yes.
Definitely.
And
that's
maybe
definitely
I
true.
was a little hard on the 4. I'm
Yeah.
just... that's why I got the 8 next to it. So, Suma, I'm sorry you had to sit through that.
I'll get off your back, brother.
All right. Thanks.
Well, I mean, like Rome and I...
Busting my balls over here, Rome.
Again, during lunch, we were kind of talking about the graphics, and really they're no better than maybe the Source or Half-Life 2, right?
The other thing, too, is that there are definitely effects in the 360 version that are not in the PC version.
Yes.
Case in point, grenades.
Yeah.
Like, the first time I saw a grenade go off in the 360, I was like, what the fuck was that? It's like this big yellow light. It's got this little heat effect that comes off it.
Yeah.
PC version, negative, okay? I haven't changed my settings at all. I let the game choose the graphics.
I think the graphics are good, but they're nothing stellar.
Right.
7.5, I think, is a commendable job, and
right.
what you would I think it's what you would expect on the 360.
Okay.
In a next-gen system.
Let's move on to sound. So sound, I actually thought that the sound was well done. One thing that you'll notice especially is they do a great job with your ambient surrounding. And what I mean by that is if you are in like a hallway that has like an echoey scenario, you'll actually hear like your gun blast off sort of a recoiled echo. You'll hear a lot of like shit flying off the walls. The magic effects all have their own unique sounds, so you may not see a magical effect take place, but you can like identify
You'll hear
them
random,
with your ear,
sounds
right?
As well.
So and Rome will back me up on this. when it comes to competitive games, sound is very important. Being able to hear your opponent picking up an armor or hear what type of weapon your opponent is firing at you or be able to hear what sort of magical power they're using, that's important.
That's giant.
And
yeah.
I feel like they actually put some pretty decent time into the sound. Now, with that being said, it's nothing spectacular.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like Airborne where these guys went out and fucking shot actual MG42s. And, you know, I mean...
I don't know, dude. I think that Shadowrun could be the best looking FPS I've seen on 360.
No, we're talking about sound though.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it could. I mean, and it's definitely not the best sounding. And
Stoner alert.
I mean, compared to Halo 3 too, you know, I agree with you. But
short turn die.
What do you think of the sound? Do you agree with the whole like?
No, I agree with that, and I also like that they included that woman's sound when something's going on in another room or something like that, and also there's that button on the pad or whatever that you can hit to let your teammates know what room something's in if you're looking at something. I like that added to the overall effect, and yeah, I thought the sound was great.
All right, so we actually both gave sound an 8, split across the board, and again, what would have made me give it a 10? Well, you know, keep in mind, guys, the game is multiplayer only. Yeah. So you don't have any speech, you don't have any voiceovers, you don't have any sort of like story that goes along with it. It's pretty straightforward. So I don't think you could give a game like that doesn't like expand its full sound horizons a full 10.
It did what it did.
It did what it did well, and I would say keeping, in fact, the reason why it did get as high as it is because the sounds are good enough for a quote unquote competitive game. Yeah. They're not muffled. They're not hard to tell where they're coming from.
I didn't notice any problems.
Right.
Let's just say that much.
Right.
Yeah.
So moving on to gameplay. I've got to tell you, the absolute thing that I love the most about this game is the magical powers. I think that the magical powers lend to a new spin on Counter-Strike. You know, traditionally Counter-Strike has been, buy some weapons, buy a few grenades, go in, try to plant the bomb, be done with it. But the whole idea of, okay, I am going to buy a bunch of weapons, but I'm also going to buy Resurrection because I want to be a support character. Or I'm going to buy the True Shot because I want to have better aim. Or I want to be able to teleport through walls so I can get to the flag or the artifact quicker. These powers all lend very well to one another, and I don't think they're imbalanced at all. In fact, that is what is most impressive, is that they're very balanced. Now, I would argue that the Strangle is a little tough to get out of, and you know, that, I'm trying to think of some of the other powers that, maybe that teleport, you can like teleport a lot one after another, but they all lend, like what Rome was saying with the 1.05 patch of Command & Conquer 3, it's like each power has a counter, sort of. Yeah. So, you have your minions, but then you can use the Strangle to stop the minions, or, for example, the True Shot or the True, I keep saying True Shot Aura, which is Warcraft 3, but
Smart Link.
Smart Link, thank you. When you have the Smart Link activated, this big fucking red laser comes out of your head, so it's really easy to tell where someone's is. It's like little tiny tweaks like that really balance out the gameplay. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. It's sort of like a double-edged sword, this game, though, as far as gameplay goes. While I do enjoy the fact that everything's balanced, while I do enjoy that there are powers, which adds something different than what we're used to with games like Counter-Strike.
Right.
What I don't enjoy to say is that, you do need a really good team in order to compete. And to me, it's kind of, I don't know if I exactly like that it forces me to have to be on a good team in order to enjoy the game. But we'll get that in fun cycle, but I think you're right. As far as gameplay, it does add something different, and I'm glad to see Microsoft or first-person shooters kind of take a little bit of a different direction.
Right, it's something new. They bring something to play with the whole magical power
and
thing.
It is fairly solid, and thank God it is balanced.
I want to actually retort your idea that you have to be on a good team, and I'm actually going to shoot a question over to Rome, because Rome and I have been talking a lot about Command & Conquer 3 on the 360, and he has noticed that it was a nub festival when he first started playing. Like, it was like buy one, get one free newbie. But now these guys are starting to learn more, and they're starting to pick up. And I would argue that you give a lot of these guys a few months on this game, and they're going to start to figure it out. People are going to realize that, I may be able to sit over here in this sniper's nest and do something and get kills, but if I'm not winning games, then what's that worth? And if you do go up against a good team that knows what they're doing, and you don't know, you're going to get fucking owned. You're going to get fucking owned.
You're fucked.
But I do also believe that you almost got to give the players a little bit of time to get acquainted with the game. I mean, how many other Counter-Strike-like games are out there that aren't Counter-Strike?
And it's also, I mean, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. While I can say that, I don't know if I necessarily like that I'm forced to do that. At the same time, maybe I do. Maybe I do like we're forced to act as a team, because one of the aspects that I love about Counter-Strike and other games is that, working as a team, working with people, you go here, you do this, you do that. So when that does actually happen, the gameplay is a lot more fun for me, and it's a lot more of a solid experience.
All right, so also gameplay, some of the things that I do like, I do like the third person and the first person transitions. You go into third person when you have a katana or you're carrying the artifact. I have found that the third person is a little bit more difficult to deal with in the 360 than it is in the PC, because you have a lot more freedom with that mouse movement, but it's not impossible.
One gameplay aspect criticism that I also have is I don't know if there are enough weapons to choose from.
I disagree. I think there's plenty of
that's
weapons.
It?
Now, I would go so far as to say there's not enough maps to choose from and there's not enough game types. But I mean, come on, you've got
that's all the weapons
SMG.
You got.
But think about Counter-Strike. They gave you fucking 12 weapons, but how many do they actually use? 4.
Well,
okay?
I want to be able
They
to
use an AK, an M1, an AWP, or occasionally maybe like a FAMAS or a Galil, and that's it. Like, you don't see anyone whipping out.
And then they use the Deagle when they have to.
Exactly.
And that's it.
I think it's perfect because everyone's going to have their combinations. You were mentioning that you like the shotgun and the machine gun combination. Yeah. I fucking hated the shotgun, dude. I think it's worthless. I like the machine gun katana. I like the machine gun and the rifle combination.
And the only reason I can think of that they did it that way is maybe they took the weed approach, but also they've got so many powers that
exactly.
Maybe adding too many weapons would have
exactly. And the powers, there's not very many powers that are insta hits. Like you could get struck in like that strangle, which are these crystals that come out of the wall.
More like just.
Right. Now, one thing I do like that you just saw a guy do, and that's the strangle right there, is when you kill a person, you have to kill their corpse or else they could be resurrected. And that is a big deal, in my opinion, because, it adds another piece to gameplay. So let's bring up our scores here real quick. For gameplay, I gave it a 7.5. And Suma gave...
I gave it an 8.
Oh, excuse me. You gave it an 8. I gave it an 8.
The graphics a little wacky. Yeah.
My bad. I gave it an 8. Suma gave it a 7.5. Why is my gameplay an 8? Is because in terms of these guys didn't set out to duplicate the Counter-Strike format. What they did is they wanted to build upon it. And as far as multiplayer games go, sure, Halo 3 is a great multiplayer game. It's very traditional deathmatch.
I think
this brings something new.
I think it could use more game types
and custom
games.
Of course it could, but remember, this is also a games for Windows and an Xbox Live game. Expect, whether it be microtransactions or not, expect map packs. Expect additional game types to come out.
Until they do, that's a 7.5.
Okay, fair enough. All I'm saying is that, I do expect them, and I have to commend these guys for being the first one to sort of go out of their way to make a new game type on the Xbox Live platform. Now, Fun Cycle is where... I almost think I was too lenient on Fun Cycle, but what's your thoughts?
Well, like I was saying before about the team aspect, when you're stuck on a shitty team against a team that is good, it is not fun to play. Absolutely not fun. And that's why I gave it the score I did, is because it's so dependent on that. Like, I can't be John Rambo or whatever, I have to be so dependent on my team.
All right.
And to me, that's sometimes just not very fun.
We both scored it a 7, and my biggest reason is that I have a problem playing non-respawn games, okay? Basically, games that make you wait if you're the first guy to die in between rounds. Now, you may say, Wheat, you're a fucking impatient son of a bitch. Yeah, that's fucking right. Just like 95% of the other gamers out there, I still don't know how people can just sit there and wait like it's fun to watch another screen.
It's better that way. It adds it makes you think about it rather than going balls to the wall.
The fact that I could be resurrected is a good thing. Of course, when you're on a team with a bunch of jacktards and they like walk by you and they have resurrection, they don't bring you.
That's the price you pay.
Okay, so I would have given this higher. Again, it scored a 7. I would have given it higher if I didn't have to wait so much. But that is just my own personal fucking bitch gripe on games. Now, you gave it a 7, too. You had your own reasons, so don't shake your goddamn head at me.
I'm getting a lot of requests for the phones to open up because they are unhappy with this review. So.
Really?
Oh.
All right, well, okay, fine. Overall, I gave it a 78%. And Suma gave it a 75%. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you. Here's your pick. Which one do you think I'm going to choose? Okay? You got the PC version that you play with the keyboard and mouse, but didn't quite seem to work. I really had to pigeonhole the machine I could play it on. It's not one that I could put on my laptop and my home rig because I don't run Vista on all of them. I tell you, see this one? Bye-bye. The 360 version is the one that you want to go with. Yes, you may be playing with on the sticks, but you have voice comms that always work. You're going to have a solid frame rate regardless of what your fucking rig is. So even if 16 people do play in a game, which I couldn't even play in an 8 versus 8 game, your 360 will handle it. That's my opinion. I say go with the 360 version. It's where it's at.
Yeah. I'm going to add a little tag on there.
Okay.
For this game.
Right. Thank you. And Rome, it should be mentioned, you do get to play cross-platform. So,
yes.
I mean, I would almost bump it up to an 80% just because,
this game
you're
only.
Thinking about it. Good job, right?
And the reason I gave it 75%, it's a better than average game. And I think that for what's out right now on the 360 besides the Halo 3 beta, it's pretty much your only choice.
I think it's pretty solid 360 title,
yeah.
man.
I think so, too.
If this had come out in August or the fall when all the megatons are going to hit, it would have been so lost in the shuffle. But I think for right now, as you're waiting for BioShock and some of these other games to come out, it's not a bad title to have to spend some time on. And I think most people would enjoy it.
So let's open up the phone lines. Camera, what have people been saying? Give us a general idea.
Just, people who have experience with the Vista version aren't agreeing with you at all. So
on the
I want to hear from
Okay, great.
Among other things.
That's why I put a 360 score.
That's why we have Boba Fett on the horn right
Where
now.
were you guys when we were trying to
Boba, what's up, dude?
Hey, I agree with everything you said about the game other than the graphics.
Okay,
I mean, it is a great game to play, but the graphic-wise, if you have a high-end PC and you're actually going to play it, full backs everything, the game looks outstanding.
Have you seen the 360 version?
Yes, I've seen the 360 version in person.
If for some reason my laptop's getting nerfed in the effects, when you play on the PC version and you throw a grenade, does it look different than it does on the 360 version?
I didn't throw the grenades on the 360. I cannot give you that exact. I can't say exactly
I need to know this. Okay.
I know 100% that the game looks fantastic on a high-end system. Like, there isn't many games that have actually made me go, wow, this game's actually good-looking.
So
it's hot.
And don't forget,
for the PC.
Don't forget that high-end system has to have Vista too, guys. So if you don't have Vista, you're going to pay $50 for the game and $200 for Vista. You might as well go buy a 360.
And fucking $2,000 for a high-end PC.
And another $2,000.
Isn't that right, Boba, with your dual?
But Boba, thank you. I mean, again, that I put my graphics score that represented my own experience with the game, okay? Now, I mean, Rance could tell me that I played on a shitty system, but I played fucking Company Heroes on ultra high on that same shitty system, and it looks gorgeous, okay?
No, it's not a shitty system for Company of Heroes, though. It's not below the minimum requirements of Company of Heroes, but it is below the minimum requirements of this game.
The problem is that, Company Heroes still, I think, looks better than Shadowrun.
You don't know what Shadowrun is leaning on, man. That it's a weakness.
It's one of these, like, you can beat camera and I can beat you, so therefore I can beat camera type of deal. It's like there's no real logic behind it. I understand where you're going. I'm just my personal experience.
All right, Dom, last caller. Dom.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up?
I just wanted you, the more I hear and see about this game, the more it seems like the FPS version of Savage. Like, it just seems like...
Oh, no, dude. Savage is fucking way better than this game, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I don't mean...
powers, the classes and stuff, it just seems like it's leaning more towards that.
Even with the magical powers and the classes in Savage, it was still first-person focused. For example, most of them were weapons, whereas most of the things that you're going to get in Shadowrun are like support or things to enhance you personally. So, like I remember playing and trying to get that fucking ice missile that was basically like a railgun in Savage. You're not going to like get that. You're basically going to have these powers that supplement your gun kills.
Remember, the point of these powers in Shadowrun actually is because they're countering cheaters. I mean, these powers in Shadowrun are basically cheats that you would get.
You remember what I said back in the day? I was like, yo, man, if wall hacks are such a problem, let's put them in the fucking game.
Right.
That's what
they did here, man.
You're right.
They put some hacks in.
You're right.
They put, an auto
and it's cool. I mean, again, it's cool. Like, they all cost something. They're balanced within. That's actually a unique spin on it. Yeah. They're kind of like hacks in the game, but you've got to pay for them in the game. I mean, like with your essence and shit. So, yeah. I don't think it's like Savage, but it's still a decent game. I mean, Savage was like on its own level.
I think
it's
a solid game, and a lot of the crap it was getting before it was launched. I know before it launched, it was getting this bad like vibe from just about everybody. It's nothing like that. It's actually a very solid game. And if you're not playing anything on the 360 and you're dying to play an FPS, there's really nothing better right now than Shadowrun.
Camera, what else are Stickum guys saying? I mean, was it just my PC score that they were getting upset about? Because if that's the case, I don't really care. But if there's something that we weren't clear about in the game, or
they say hi, by the way.
That's hi.
Yeah, just other gaynesses going on.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of debauchery going on, dude. So
all right.
Yeah. So you know what I think?
What?
My video card, it's a dual.
All right. Oh, okay. Well, you know what?
That's Stickum for you.
All right. Yeah, exactly.
I got a Radeon 5000.
You know what? Don't make me have to use Vista, and I would have had an acceptable rig in order to play this game on. And that's the only critique that I'm going to give on the fucking PC version. But I think that you guys were right. You said it on lunch, and I'm going to close the show out with this, is that it's a way to sell Vista. With that being said...